What's up, everybody? It's Eli here from TreeFall Studios, and today we're going to be looking at Part 2 for the Perplexing Orb 2 in the Dev Commentary series. Today's video is going to be a little bit shorter. I'm a little bit behind. I spent most of the day building a brand new computer with a friend for TreeFall Studios, and it's really sweet. I'm very excited, so I can't wait to share more of that with you guys when I probably do a studio tour update after I get a few more items that I'm hoping to purchase. Without further ado, let's hop on into the video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing off some level design. So this is some footage from over a month ago, and I'm going to be showing off how the levels are designed around the orb's character abilities. So here you're seeing that you have to shrink in order to get under these posts, but being small, you don't have enough speed to get across these gaps. So this entire level right here is built off of the shrinking growing mechanic. We're going to take a look at it one more time. So basically, to solve this puzzle, you have to shrink grow, shrink grow, shrink grow as you're rolling. It's just one of the examples of how I've used a very, very simple and easy mechanic to make all sorts of different types of puzzles. So we're going to take a look at another example of the shrinking and growing right here in the next clip. This is one of my favorite levels. It's the cheese grater level. Call it what you will. It's got holes poked around, so I show how you can easily get around the holes by shrinking, but you have to grow to have enough speed to get over this hump. You can't get over it as you're small, and then as you jump over the hump, then there's a small tunnel to where you have to shrink again in order to reach the finish post. You can see I moved the player start around a little bit because I didn't like how you were kind of if you fall off the kill volume, you landed into the level. So here's a look at the level being completed, and you shrink right through and bam, hit to the finish. So this next clip is not based on the shrink mechanic, but I just wanted to show it off a little bit when it was in progress. This is just showing a little bit of the dynamic levels. So this is one of my favorites from World 1. The levels squares literally just rotate back and forth, but as you can see, it gets more complicated as there are no rest stops between the two, so you have to time it just perfectly to reach the end. It's just one of my favorite levels by far. Also, one of the earliest things I did when designing some of the levels was design all of the setup pieces. This actually I should have included probably in the first devlog, but let's take a look at the artifacts, because these are part of the level design as well. If you remember from the first game, they were two squares that kind of rotated in each other, but now the artifacts, the models themselves have gotten more complicated. It's still a square, and then there's multiple squares rotating in between, and there's a third pillar in the very big middle of this as well, and they're all rotating in different directions, and when you hit them, each part of the artifact shrinks and disappears one at a time. This is by far one of my favorite things that I made, keeping the spirit of the original artifacts alive in this game, as well as the finished post, but I just think it has such a more unique touch for this game. You can see it reflects the sky in the metal for the artifacts as well, and both of the middle squares that are the second piece of the artifact, they actually rotate in opposite directions from each other. So it's just way more complicated, and little details like this are just what brings the game together. Now we're going to take a look at a couple levels in progress from World 2. These were made a few weeks after the other level clips that I just showed off. And these are some of the more complicated levels, decently complicated. World 2 has some pretty intricate puzzles, but this is some of a look at somewhere in between. These are levels like 30-something, I think, past the first 10. So you can see there's rotating platforms that you kind of have to judge, and then you can ride the magnet here. What you have to do is shoot up, and then there's a wall blocking you, and you have to shrink to get under it. You can see I've got it going transparent so you can see, and then there's also artifacts above you that you have to, you can't get them from here, and then when you go down to this direction, there's a magnet on this platform that you can use to shoot up to hit to the finish, or if you are wanting to 100% complete the levels, you can use to shoot backwards and land up there. As you can see that I actually missed, because it's kind of hard to judge because you're just shooting backwards, but you can't really fall off because those walls are behind you, and if you just pull back straight, you're gonna land on something. So it just takes a couple of jumps to make sure you're trying to get that last artifact. It's one of the puzzle designs that I really liked because it kind of differentiates the levels from just being able to be completed or to be able to be 100%ed, which is definitely going to be a different factor in this game, because in this game there's going to be a coin you earn for beating each level 100% with the artifacts as well, and those are going to be used for special unlockables. I will talk more about that in the future. So we're taking a look at one more level here, and this is a vertical level where you ride these up and down, and it's pretty tough because when you launch up, there's a small little steel post for you to land on, and then you ride this over, jump right off, and then hit the finish post. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the behind the scenes of how levels were designed around character abilities for the new abilities in the Perplexing Orb 2. And before I end this video today, I need to give a big shout out to all of our patrons who support us on Patreon. And I got to give a special shout out to Zach Ware, LV, and Carmen Red. Thank you for everything you do for TreeFall Studios on Patreon. If you're interested in checking out our Patreon page, go to patreon.com/TreeFall Studios to get some special rewards. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video.